Welcome back to our web development series. You've successfully learned the absolute core elements of HTML. We're talking tags, links, forms, multimedia, accessibility. You've got the building blocks down pat. But I want you to imagine something. Imagine creating an absolutely amazing website, pouring hours into the code, but nobody can find it on Google. Zero traffic. Crickets. Well, that is exactly where SEO comes in. Today, in this explainer, we're going to learn the HTML foundations of SEO. Seriously, why does your beautiful new website have zero traffic? The answer almost always lies in how search engines are reading your code. SEO, or search engine optimization, is what helps search engines actually understand your website so they can show it to people who are searching for related topics. Think of SEO as the essential translator between your raw HTML code and the search engine's brain. If the search engine can't understand what your code is saying, it definitely can't recommend your site to users. Okay, let's map out our top-down approach through an HTML document. We're going to cover titles and meta descriptions, semantic page structure, heading hierarchy, images and links, generative engine optimization, and we'll finish up with a recap and a coding challenge. Starting right at the top with Section 1, Titles and Meta Descriptions. We're beginning in the unseen head element of your HTML file. Now, why do you think Google actually needs a page title? Well, it essentially summarizes the entire main idea of your page for browser tabs and, crucially, for search results. The absolute best practice here is keeping it under 55 to 60 characters. And you want to put your main keyword right up front. If you're selling cropped blue jeans, put crop blue jeans right at the beginning of that tag. That way, users and search engines immediately know exactly what they're looking at. Right below that title is the meta description. That's the brief summary text you see beneath the clickable link in search results. Notice the huge difference between a passive and an active description here? A passive one just lazily lists facts. Boring, right? But an active description uses active voice and a clear call to action, or CTA. You want to keep this concise, under 155 characters, maybe 1 to 3 sentences max. Now, here's a secret. This tag doesn't directly boost your search rankings, but it absolutely drives whether a user actually decides to click on your link. It's your sales pitch. Let me ask you this. What would happen if every single page on a website had the exact same title? Total chaos. Duplicate tags thoroughly confuse both users and search engines. If the search engine can't tell your pages apart to figure out which one matches a user's search, it'll likely just ignore your carefully written title entirely and pull random text from your webpage instead. No way we want that. Every single page must have a unique title and a unique meta description. Moving right along to Section 2, Semantic Page Structure. Now we're transitioning from the unseen head into the visible body structure. Semantic tags like header, nav, main, section, article, and footer, they do so much more than just hold your content. They actively describe the precise meaning of that content to the search engine. For instance, putting your links inside a nav tag explicitly screams out to Google, hey, over here, these are the most important navigation links for my site. Similarly, the footer tag at the bottom clearly outlines your copyright info and secondary links. It literally helps search engines map out your exact page layout. And this brilliantly illustrates how it all connects. Semantic HTML creates this incredibly high-impact shared foundation. Actually, think about it like this. The exact same technical work you do for traditional SEO is the exact same work that makes your site accessible to users who rely on screen readers. And as a bonus, it's what makes your content perfectly readable by modern AI search engines. It's literally a win-win-win situation. Next up, Section 3, Heading Hierarchy. Heading tags act as the critical table of contents for those little search engine crawlers. You get exactly one H1 tag per page for your main overarching topic. From there, your H2 tags are for main sections, and H3 tags are for the subsections within those. A super common beginner mistake is skipping levels, like jumping from an H2 straight down to an H4. Don't do that. It's kind of like building a house and just totally forgetting to put in the second floor. It completely confuses the search engine trying to understand the parent-child relationships within your text. So the crucial takeaway here is to use your H1 through H6 tags strictly for structure, never just for styling. If you want text to look bigger or bolder, that's what CSS is for. Seriously, never use an H2 tag just because you want a font to look larger. Search engines rely on these headings to mathematically interpret the logical flow of your content, so you have to keep that structure pristine. All right, on to Section 4, Images and Links. Think about this for a second. How might search engines understand an image without alt text? The short answer? They really struggle. Search engines don't see pictures the way we do. Instead, they rely completely on the image tag's alt attribute. Alt text provides a descriptive text alternative. This is absolutely vital for visually impaired users relying on screen readers, but it also tells Google exactly what the image is about, which is exactly how you rank in Google Images. Next up, internal links. These are the A tags connecting the different pages of your site. Using highly descriptive anchor text, like House Cleaning Service Boston MA, instead of just click here, helps both users and search engines immediately understand the destination. Oh, and speaking of destinations, make sure your URLs are SEO-friendly too. A nice clean URL like house cleaning is infinitely better for search engines than a random string of weird numbers. Good URLs and good anchor text help distribute link equity smoothly all across your site. Now for Section 5, Generative Engine Optimization. Okay, here's where things get really cutting edge. Today, we aren't just optimizing for traditional Google search anymore. We are optimizing for massive AI models like ChatGPT and Gemini. We call this Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO. In an AI overview, there are no traditional rankings like the old days. There are only citations. And to become a trusted citation source, your HTML structure has to literally serve as a grounding truth for the AI. These AI engines use a process called RAG, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. Now, if your core answer is buried deep within a massive wall of text, the AI simply won't retrieve it. You've got to use the BLUF method, bottom line up front. Put your actual answer in the very first sentence. Also, use HTML definition lists for specifications, and firmly group your data into statistic-heavy sections. AI models actively scan for numerical density and hyperclear HTML structures when they're trying to substantiate their claims. Finally, Section 6, our recap and challenge. Let's see how all this builds together. Let's do a rapid-fire review of the most common beginner pitfalls you need to avoid. 1. Do not forget your title tags. 2. Never use duplicate meta descriptions across different pages. 3. Absolutely no multiple H1 tags without a strict, meaningful structure. 4. Don't leave your image alt text blank. And finally, stop using non-semantic HTML, like throwing standard div tags everywhere, when a header or section tag would actually tell the search engine what the content means. So here is your practice challenge to really cement these foundational concepts. I want you to create a web page completely from scratch. It needs to contain exactly one proper title tag, one compelling meta description, a single H1 heading followed logically by multiple H2 headings, an image with clear and meaningful alt text, some internal navigation links, and the whole thing needs to be wrapped in a fully semantic HTML structure. Give it a shot. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. If an AI model reads your website tomorrow, what will it actually understand? Remember, your HTML isn't just about making things look pretty on a screen. It's literally the foundational data layer for the entire modern web. And with that, congratulations. You have officially learned the core concepts of HTML. Now, in our very next explainer, Part 12, we are going to build a complete travel website project from scratch. We're going to combine absolutely everything you've learned throughout this entire series into one amazing real-world project. I can't wait. I'll see you there.